Hello everybody and welcome back to Dickie's Videos, where no war game remains unplayed. And here we are, and don't forget ladies and gentlemen to of course click that like and subscribe button and come back for more further intriguing content. So, the final round of the King of a Hill tournament, as I was playing Vikings. Here it is. So this is the overview battle. If you've missed the battle, please go and watch it before I spoil your day. Salt. I'll admit it, I got slightly salty against my opponent, but I want to say to Gary, what an amazing player. Playing him twice in this tournament and losing both times. I've got to say, yeah, he did well, really well, and I kind of messed up a little bit here and underestimated the British forces once again. So we're going to look at initial deployment, and if you've not watched the battle, please watch the battle. It was epic. It was a long battle. It was back and forth for many of turns, and he got the up at me with rallies and stuff like that. It was absolutely amazing. So we're going to have a look at my deployment. So this is a long battle. This footage is an hour and 22 minutes. And unfortunately, gentlemen, I can't go for an hour and 22 minutes. So, as you can see, which I think was my first mistake, I took too much cavalry. As you can see, I've got 2 cavalry down there and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of cavalry. Which I think I should have reduced looking at the terrain factor, that I had a hill in the centre where I should have kept, and I should have spaced cavalry to the left and right and pivoted and holded on this hill. I got overconfident when I saw his line and thought I was depositioning himself, but unfortunately I made the mistake in charging headlong. Guts and glory. So, unfortunately, I will have to skip probably a lot of the footage and just discuss what I did, because it is an hour and 22 minutes. So, we're going to skip to... So, this is the deployment. So, the initial plan, I've got a hill. I've got Huskels, I've got Berserkers. I think I should have scrapped the Berserkers here. And a big thing happens on this hill, on his hill, that does change up the game. So, we're going to skip to, I think where the action starts, 10 minutes. As you can see, he's filtered down from the back of the field. He's got lots of infantry. He just completely outnumbers me here. The cavalry is, of course, an issue. But I think I could out-cavalry him a little bit here. It doesn't go to plan. I think we do a couple of charges on the left to keep him occupied. And the combat's going to be either before this rough terrain or after. I should have stopped here. Rather than advancing farther. I thought, I could get his cavalry linked between his lines, but he plays quite good. And I think, looking at this again, look at the POA advantage of his infantry on that hill, it's all for him. He's got the numbers game here. And I got particularly scared. So as you can see, the battle line is going to be across this hill. And he has the majority. Issue is I have the quality, he has the quantity, and he can lose more. And if you watched the battle before, of course, he got lots of rallies, which particularly did help him really win this. And as you can see, it's kind of back and forth for a long time with the infantry. I'm trying to get past this piece of rough terrain here, because the fact is this rough terrain is going to disrupt everything apart from the Berserkers and, of course, the Berserkers and the light troops. So the cavalry off. And if you watch the video as well, he gets quite a lot of good rallies. Like I said, me being slightly salty, and I think I've got a hint of saltiness right here. As you can see, the combats are starting to slow. So we're at, we're not even half 10 minutes into it. Well, just over 10 minutes. So what we're going to do, we're going to skip to 40 minutes, and then we're going to play a thing. So as you can see, 40 minutes on, we're both engaged on the hill. So a couple of mistakes here I'm going to note. I've engaged on this rough terrain slope. Even though I've won some combats, the ice start to break due to, of course, being worn down more than anything. And as you can see, Gary's particularly good at recycling his units. A lot of the combats where he does break or is loosened, he moves them back. I start to get edges on the left side with the cavalry. But as you can see at the bottom here, there's a cavalry unit here that is stuck. And I'm probably never going to do this again. It's cavalry in woods things. And of course, this rough terrain factor here. So there's 2 points in this battle now which are static and aren't going to move. That's on that big hill in the centre and the woods. And, oh, it's bad. I can't let him get through here. The Housecarls are really battering his infantry. He's got a couple of medium foot units, which I feel quite confident with. But as you can see, most of his forces from the top here start to filter around to the left side of my left flank. So he's got more forces on the right side, and he keeps pulling them very slowly to the left, even though I keep hammering away. And you can look, you see there, he keeps chucking in fresh units. So a couple of points to remember. 2 static points in the battlefield. Which are stuck for majority of the game. Gary's really good at, of course, blocking my cavalry, recycling his units. I keep trying to get around him, but as you can see, he's pouring. What's the word? He's overlapping his units here, and this is the main issue. I can't do anything. I cannot do anything. I'm bricking it, and it's very steady. I've got to say this. It's very back and forth, but this combat on this rough terrain hill is by far the worst bane of my life. I should have stuck back, and I shouldn't have chose so much cavalry. But you know what? It was an amazing game. Amazing game. I think everybody who's commented on the video so far has really enjoyed it. But I'm bricking it. Having to send a couple of units back to it. And here, look, it's the being severely disrupted. And there we go. You see, on that secondary hill to the right, there's a piece of rough terrain where he just holds particularly well. I give him the POA advantage of that hill, and that is, of course, my mistake. I should not have pushed that hill, and I think he must have thought, look, his lucky stars. And there's a bit of course anti-cavalry tactics to the right side where I'm trying to disengage and engage my units to draw them away. My power is in the Housecarls, and I gave his basic infantry on the on the hill the same advantages. Normally the advantage would be, and he's outnumbering me. So as I said, this is annoying. This cavalry unit in the woods just won't break. It's all for me there. The numbers are all for me. I'm sitting there going, oh, please die. Please die there. But of course, yeah, we're going to skip to an hour mark after this. I think this is what I marked down in my pencil. So the battle has gone, literally, like I said, you see them 2 key points, which are static. The main hill on the centre, which we've here, they've been battling all game. And unfortunately, the Berserkers are fighting medium troops and being severely disrupted. I think slightly disrupted on the hill. You see, at this point, he's got 3 rallies. And of course, the cavalry unit there, still alive. He sneaks some cavalry around to the rear. Which is particularly bad. Oh, I'm not feeling happy here. And I'm trying to get round him with the cavalry. And I can't, unfortunately, I can't fight. He's chucked his general around as well. His CNC and sub-generals around. But here, this is where it starts to unfold. The Housecarls, I've got to say, do put up a fantastic fight with actually holding the line. With a lot of being disrupted but not actually getting down to fragmented. It's interesting. It is very interesting, but here I'm completely outnumbered. That piece of rough terrain in the centre. And the amount of rallies I've got on hold firm, it's like... But one of them games, I got to say, it was epic. And I do take, if you're watching this, please go back and watch it. It's a long video, but an enjoyable video. And, you know, I love my Field of Glory 2 content, but it is insane in the membrane. But here we are again. The Housecarls just bricking it. Heavy weapons. That plus POA for the heavy weapons, even against mounted. But me trying to face cavalry off with infantry is not going to work, and he's going to eventually start to overlap us. But like I said, looking back at it, them 2 points I take away from this a couple of points. Like I said, the woods in the rear, the hill, his numbers, and me choosing too much cavalry. I think I should have, rather than gone with more cavalry, should have just bricked it out with much offensive spearmen as possible and just try to beat him at his own things. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and play the British after this, because looking at the numbers, he's just literally just spammed as much infantry as possible. Literally spammed as much. And I don't know if that list gets any... I need to go and see the list, what choice he gets. But here, he's got a flank charge straight away there in the Housecarls to the right. He can easily charge them, and I think he does. So currently, at an hour into the field, it's looking dire for the Vikings. It was even keel for lots of turns here, as in key positioning. It shows you how much in Field of Glory 2 positioning is such a big issue. Like any real-time strategy game or even turn-based tactical game, positioning is everything. If you got the right position, even with maybe with the wrong kind of troops, you can pull some magic things. So we're going to come down and watch probably the last 12 minutes of it. So this is where the British start to get a couple of points yet again. The two key static points, the wood and the hill. And he is now overlapping. The Huscarls are being flanked all the way down that line. And of course, on that hill where you got the flank breaks, I've been pushed onto rough terrain as a panic. But of course, I have quality. He has quantity. And today that was probably an overriding factor. But I keep looking back and I keep thinking about it. I was very salty. And I don't get very salty very often. But I felt the amount of, I mean, I've got to say, I get an extreme amount of luck in Field of Glory too. And probably other strategy games which you guys watches. But amazing play from Gary. Just the amount of rallies here. And you can see the amount of disrupted troops and fragmented troops on his side alone at this point shows you. But Fu Manchu. And there you go. His cavalry is now going to just... cavalry unit in the woods, still alive. We're both disrupted. We're both not doing particularly much there. I did some last-minute charges, trying to charge him with his medium troops, unfortunately. To avail. What's the opposite of avail is? Here we go. The light cavalry break. Bring it a couple of sent back to us. Me trying to... But... He did well at countering everything I could pull at him. And here as well, I tried to push over some infantry. But even the infantry box there. And I think we did comment, I did have a Huscarl unit there that didn't do anything. But the reason it was there was to block. I mean, that position could have been taken up by, of course, a offensive spearman unit. But as you can see, the Huscarls being slowly but surely just ground down here. Good disruptions, but I am eventually going to get flanked. That combat... The heavy troops, of course, the weakness of the Vikings is the inability to bring too many medium foots. And I engaged on a bad platter there. I don't know why I did it. I think not over aggressiveness. I felt it was the right thing to do at the right time, but unfortunately, it wasn't the right thing. But here I just go, oh, he's done so well. I want to play him again. So we're coming up to probably an hour and 13 minutes. Good rally there again from the horsemen. Rally again from the spearmen who were disrupted in the rear. And we're at 17. The cavalry in the woods yet again rallying. That was hopefully trying to be my saving grace on that southern sector, was to bust through with that cavalry and push on his line. There you go. Now the finally berserkers, after a long bitter fight, have been now fragmented on the hill. Of course, the heavy weapon Huscarl was getting smashed. His cavalry is all over the place. It's going to take a miracle of rallies here for me to actually come back from this. There we go, disrupting his defensive spearmen. Question is, can we hold back? Can we hold it? I think I should have kept back on that hill and said, I'm not coming onto that hill. That was a death trap. And I think, looking at it again, divvying my forces up into two, because that hill is not accessible by all my forces, so maybe I should have kept back a couple of spaces. And now it is just now him. I mean, I'm mostly engaged here. It is literally my turn is me just clicking the end turn button because I cannot engage anything more. And of course you can see the cavalry on the mid centre about to chuck all to the right side and go home. We had a good summer break, but like I said, he's got a couple of good rallies. And then, but of course, recycling them units. If it's a list with a large amount of infantry that can be recycled, he's just going to chuck it away. That cavalry unit in the rear at the top, denied, completely surrounded, will not make an impact in this battle. There we go. Oh, this is. And we do get actually a couple of sneaky rallies there. Here's the flank. Break, and then hold firm, break again, the people who rallied. Harsh. But I noticed he's really good at chucking his general around at the right time. Really, his sub-general was there, which didn't do anything, and then the cavalry bogged down there, particularly as it makes no difference here. I know it's over. Well, I don't. Like my forces don't know it's over. So we come down to the last 7 minutes of gameplay here. Challenge, I don't think we're particularly going to learn. We're going to sit to the 20. So we come up to 49% there. The Viking forces are on our thing. The cavalry charge broke 53%. The cavalry getting ground down by the infantry. Then the flank of his forces pushing this way towards this line. All gone. And the hill, and that tips it to the 60% destruction mark. Auto rate for the cavalry, bringing it to 64%. Oh, 68. Oh, you mock me, sir. Oh, God. At least it wasn't against pikemen. Oh, he's just cleaning me up here. That cavalry in the southern position really annoyed. And there we go. Just adding salt into that already deeply salted wound. Back to Viking land with you. That cavalry unit rallies. So yeah, I break him down to fragmented with a flank charge, and then he rallies up. I get disrupted. I rally back up to being things. So we've both gone back. So there we go. A huge defeat there. So we're going to pause this when I get to probably, I think, yeah, I'm feeling pretty salty here. Okay, can I pause this in a good position? Come on, Richard. Scroll back up to the top. There we go. So there you go. The overriding battlefield. We'll have a couple of discussions. So a couple of key mistakes. This location to the south with the cavalry in the woods, both being severely disordered, or at least disordered in that. I think severely disordered in that rough terrain. Also, the hill was another piece there. So when you think about it, I've got 1, 2, 3 fronts on that entire field, which we're having to cover, in particularly awful situations for the Vikings. Many dead on that little thing there. You see, he just kept pushing units from this right, bring them all the way to this left, and he kept recycling. Rather that, he got a lot of rallies, but I've got to say he played well, and there's nothing I could have. There's one thing I could have done: stood back here, used less cavalry, used this rough terrain as a combat blocker. He would have hopefully pushed medium troops. Hopefully then the berserkers would have went up and smashed the crap out of him. But hard. You learn sometimes the hard way. I've got to say, I'm a keen amateur on Field of Glory too. Even though how much I play it, I'm a keen amateur and I keep trying to get better. But there is better people out there, and I learn even much about this. But I want to say thank you, Gary. It was a fantastic game. You won fair and square, but the amount of rallies, I know I get lucky with my rallies, but he got massively. And you can see it was the quantity he had there. And I think even if I go back, I might go back and just have a quick look at this, how many units he actually had. Okay, so we go, did it. So what's that? He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same mass. Cavalry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 units and 7 cavalry to my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17. So he outnumbers me. Also, in the light, he outnumbers me. So I was outnumbered, not in quality, but in quantity, and he used it better. As we come to that end of the battlefield, he did pretty well with it. I can't really say. That was fun, though. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, of course, to click that like, that subscribe button. Remember, there is always bigger fish out there. And I will, of course, hopefully see you on another victory. But it was a good tournament. And, of course, I love to share my experiences on YouTube. Come back for more another day. And hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I enjoy producing it. And bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.